At 17, my family kicked me out after my cousin falsely accused me of SA. Years later, she tried to blackmail me for money, saying, "You owe me for not ruining you completely. You should be grateful and pay me." So I went nuclear and destroyed her life. All right, Reddit. When I was 17, my 15-year-old cousin got caught by her parents sneaking out to party with older guys. Then she framed me for harassment to cover her own butt. My own family turned their backs on me and got me kicked out. 13 years later, when I built my own business from nothing, she tried to blackmail me for $50,000. So I went nuclear and watched her whole world burn, while I kept building mine, grabbed something to eat because this gets wild. I, 32 male, was 17 when everything imploded. I was working part-time at an auto body in Phoenix, making $8 an hour. November 2010, Thursday night. I just finished replacing brake pads on some lady's Lexus and got home around midnight. My cousin Ashley lived 3 houses down with my aunt and uncle, 15 years old. Varsity volleyball, student council. Basically the golden child of the family. That night, she ditched school with some senior she was trying to impress, got caught making out with him in his car at the mall parking lot by a family friend who immediately called her parents. I was in my room playing Call of Duty when I heard the screaming. My bedroom window faced their house, and the whole neighborhood could hear my uncle losing his absolute mind. My aunt was crying so loud I could make out words through the glass. Standard rich people discovering their kid isn't. Perfect meltdown. I turned up my headset and went back to the game. Then my phone blew up. My mom burst into my room without knocking. "Get downstairs, now." The way she looked at me, like I'd already done something wrong. Downstairs, my uncle and aunt were sitting on our couch. Ashley was next to them, mascara running down her face, shaking like she'd witnessed a murder. My dad stood in the corner with his arms crossed, that look on his face like he was about to watch someone get their butt kicked, and he was perfectly fine with it. "Tell him what you told us," my uncle said to Ashley, his voice cold. Ashley looked up at me with these big, wet eyes. "I'm sorry, Walter. I didn't want to say anything. I was scared." My stomach dropped. "He's been texting me," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "For months. Saying things. Sexual things today when I skipped school. It was because he threatened to show everyone screenshots if I didn't meet him." The room spun. "That's nonsense," I said. "I don't even have her number." "She showed us the messages," my aunt said. "Your number, your name, everything. Then she faked them. I never sent her a damn thing." My uncle stood up. "You calling my daughter a liar?" Yeah, I am." He got in my face. 6'2", former college linebacker, veins popping in his neck. "You sick little punk. She's your cousin and she is 15. I didn't do anything." My dad finally spoke up. "Show me your phone." "What?" "Your phone. Now." I pulled it out and handed it over. He scrolled through my messages while everyone watched, looking for evidence of something that didn't exist. "He could have deleted them," Ashley said quietly. And just like that, guilty. It didn't matter what my phone showed. It didn't matter that I could explain where I'd been when these texts were supposedly sent. My mom was crying now. Not for me. For Ashley. For the trauma this poor innocent girl had supposedly endured at the hands of her predator cousin. "Pack your stuff," my dad said. "You're not sleeping under this roof tonight." "Dad, I don't want to hear it." He threw my phone at my chest. "You've got 30 minutes. Take what fits in your car. Everything else goes to Goodwill tomorrow." I looked at my mom. She wouldn't even meet my eyes 30 minutes. 17 years of life condensed into whatever fit in a backpack and 2 garbage bags. Clothes, my Xbox, some tools I'd bought with my own money, the $400 I had saved up from work. Left my bed, my desk, my posters, my childhood, left my freaking family. I drove to a Walmart parking lot and slept in my 2004 Civic that night. Woke up to texts from my dad saying I was officially cut off. No college fund, no health insurance, no family, just gone. By Monday morning, everyone knew my boss at the auto shop didn't fire me directly, just stopped putting me on the schedule. My girlfriend Emma stopped answering my texts. My buddies from school acted like I didn't exist. Small towns are like that. One accusation and you're done. Doesn't matter if it's true. The narrative is written and you're just living in it. I lasted 2 more weeks in Phoenix. 2 weeks of people staring at me at the grocery store. 2 weeks of former friends crossing the street. 2 weeks of being treated like a sex offender at 17 years old. The final straw came when someone keyed perv into my car door at the gym. Came out from the locker room to find it scratched deep into the paint, surrounded by people who definitely saw who did it but suddenly couldn't remember anything. That night I withdrew my $400, filled up my tank, and pointed my car east. Never looked back. Turned out living in your car at 17 was exactly as crappy as it sounded. I made it to Albuquerque first. Spent 3 days there before realizing it was too close. Too many Arizona plates. Too much risk of running into someone who knew someone from back home kept driving. Landed in Austin, Texas with $50 left and a quarter tank of gas. Austin was perfect. Big enough to disappear in. Young enough that nobody questioned a teenager hustling for cash. Weird enough that being a loner didn't make you suspicious. The first month was rough. Slept in my car behind a 24-hour gym where I had a $10 monthly membership just for the showers. Ate whatever I could afford at dollar menus. Worked day labor gigs through Craigslist. Moving furniture, digging ditches, whatever paid cash. But I was free. Nobody knew me here. Nobody crossed the street when they saw me. Nobody called me a predator. I picked up a regular gig at a construction site after a few weeks. Boss man didn't give a crap about my age as long as I showed up on time and worked hard cash every Friday. No questions asked. By month 3, I'd saved enough to rent a room in a house with 4 other dudes. $200 a month for a mattress on the floor and access to a bathroom. Sounded like luxury after the Civic. Got my GED at 18. Started taking night classes at community college. Business management, accounting, basic economics. I was good with numbers. Always had been. Days I worked construction. Nights I studied. Weekends I started flipping stuff on Craigslist and eBay. Buy broken electronics, fix them, sell them for profit. Bought a broken Xbox for $20, replaced a component I got off Amazon for $5, sold it for $80. Easy money if you had the time and patience. Within a year I had a system. Scout pawn shops and thrift stores for underpriced electronics. Fix whatever was wrong. List them online. Ship them out. Rinse and repeat. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. By 2013, I'd moved into my own studio apartment, small as heck, but it had a real bed and a kitchen, and nobody else's stuff everywhere. Felt like a mansion. I kept flipping electronics, but scaled up laptops, gaming systems, phones, started buying in bulk from liquidation auctions. Some weeks I cleared $2,000 profit. That's when I realized I could turn this into something real. Registered an LLC in 2015. Torres Electronics Repair and Resale. Got a small warehouse space. Hired my first employee, some kid named Liam who was good with computers. The business grew faster than I expected. Turns out there's huge demand for refurbished electronics if you price them right and actually fix them properly. By 2018, we had 6 employees and contracts with several local businesses for their tech repairs. Dating was complicated. Hard to build something real when you're constantly paranoid about your past catching up. I dated. Had a few relationships that lasted a few months, but I always kept people at arm's length. Never let anyone get close enough to ask too many questions about my family or why I never talked to them. Then I met Hazel in 2022. She was smart, funny, didn't take crap from anyone. She asked me out first, which basically sealed the deal. Hazel knew I didn't talk to my family. I told her we'd had a falling out when I was younger, and left it at that. She didn't push. Said everyone's got stuff they don't want to discuss. We moved in together after 6 months. Got engaged after a year. My business was doing well. Pulling in about $300,000 profit annually. I'd bought a house, a decent truck, had money in the bank. Not rich, but comfortable. More than comfortable. I'd freaking won. Started with nothing at 17 and built this all on my own. No family money. No college fund. No safety net. Just me and my refusal to let Ashley's lies define my life. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost sent it to voicemail, but something made me answer. Hello? Walter? Walter Torres? The voice was older, but I recognized it instantly. Ashley. My blood went cold. Wrong number. Wait, don't hang up. Please, I need to talk to you. It's important. I should have hung up. Should have blocked the number. Should have thrown my phone in the damn river. Instead, I said, how did you get this number? I've been looking for you. For years, actually. It took forever, but I finally found you through your business registration. Torres Electronics. Pretty successful from what I can see. My jaw clenched. What do you want? I heard you got engaged. Congratulations. Her voice had this edge to it. Not friendly. Hazel, right? She's pretty. Are you freaking stalking me? Look, I'm in a really bad spot right now, Walter. I've got 2 kids. 2 dads, but both useless pieces of trash who don't pay child support. I'm working part-time at a med spa, but rent keeps going up and daycare is insane. I'm drowning here. I need help. Family helping family, you know. I actually laughed. You want money? I was thinking $50,000 would get me back on my feet. Car payment, catch up on bills, maybe a deposit on a better apartment. That's not that much for someone running a successful business. You're insane. Am I? Because I still have those screenshots, the ones from when you were harassing me. I kept everything, Walter. And you know what's crazy? They'd probably be really interesting to Hazel. I bet she doesn't know about your past, about what you did to your 15-year-old cousin. The rage hit me like a freight train. 13 freaking years of building a new life, and here she was, threatening to destroy it all over again. Hazel wouldn't believe you, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. You sure about that? I'm very convincing. I've had a lot of practice, and honestly, with 2 kids to feed and bills piling up, I've got nothing to lose. You, on the other hand, you've got everything to lose. Nice business, nice house, pretty fiancé. Would be a shame if it all came crashing down. Go screw yourself, Ashley. $50,000 by the end of the month, or I send everything to Hazel and your business partners. And anyone else who might care that Walter Torres isn't quite the stand-up guy everyone thinks he is, your choice. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, hands shaking. After everything. After over a decade of building something from nothing. After finally finding someone who made me happy. This woman was really going to try and burn it all down for 50 grand because she couldn't keep her legs closed and picked deadbeat dads. I didn't tell Hazel. I thought Ashley was bluffing. 3 days later, Hazel came home from work early. I was in the garage working on a laptop repair when she walked in. The look on her face, cold, disgusted, horrified, I knew immediately. Hazel, don't. She held up her phone. Some woman named Ashley sent me a very interesting message, with screenshots, of you sexually harassing her when she was 15. That's fake, all of it. She's lying. She said you'd say that. She said you've been running from this for years, that your whole family disowned you because of what you did. Because she lied. I never sent those messages. I never did anything to her. She made it all up to cover her own butt, and now she's trying to blackmail me for money. Hazel's expression didn't change. You never mentioned you had a cousin. You never mentioned being kicked out at 17. You never mentioned any of this. Because it was lies. Because I spent over 12 years building a life away from that toxic family and that lying manipulative. Stop. She shook her head. You know what? I knew something was off. I knew there was something you weren't telling me. I just didn't think it was this. You're believing her over me? I'm believing the evidence over your excuses. That's what I'm doing. What evidence? Fake screenshots that can be created in 5 minutes? That's what you're basing this on? You have no relationship with your family. You never talk about your past. You flinch every time someone asks where you grew up. I always thought it was just family drama. But this? This makes sense. This explains everything. She was looking at me like I was a stranger. Like the past 2 years meant nothing. Hazel, if you don't believe me, we are done. I'm done listening. I'm already done with this. She pulled off her engagement ring and set it on the workbench. There's always been something wrong with you. Something broken. I tried to ignore it, but I can't anymore. I can't marry someone capable of this. I'm not capable of anything. I didn't do anything. That's what they all say. She turned and walked toward the door. I'll be back tomorrow for my stuff. Don't be here. And just like that, she was gone. I stood in the garage holding that engagement ring, feeling exactly like I had at 17 wrongly accused. Instantly judged. Completely helpless. But I wasn't 17 anymore. And I was done being helpless. I spent that first night doing what I should have done 13 years ago. Building a case started with the basics. Pulled up every electronic record I could find from 2010. Bank statements showing where I'd been. Then I dug into Ashley's social media, was a goldmine. Her Facebook was public. Instagram too. I spent hours scrolling through years of posts. Her life laid out in carefully curated photos. And there they were. 2 kids. Caden, age 6. Madison, age 4. Different last names. Different dads based on the tags in old photos. One dad looked like a typical deadbeat, covered in crappy tattoos, holding a soda in every photo. The other was some wannabe SoundCloud rapper type who hadn't posted anything in 3 years. Her post told the whole story. Single mom struggling, working part-time, constant posts about how hard it was, how nobody helped her, how the dads were useless, passive-aggressive comments about bills and late rent, stories of eviction notices that she'd take down after an hour, but I screenshot them all. But here's what was interesting. She had a pattern. Her social media was full of subtle manipulation, posts about how hard her life was, how she'd been wronged, how people owed her. Every few months, some new crisis, some new injustice, always someone else's fault. I found posts from 2019 about how her ex-husband was financially abusing her by not paying her credit card bills after the divorce. Classic victim mentality. Professional victim, really. Nothing was ever her fault. Everyone was against her. Two kids from two different deadbeats, and somehow it was the world's problem, not hers. I screenshot everything. I called my old buddy Liam. Dude was a wizard with computers and owed me for giving him his first real job. I need you to analyze some image files, I told him. Screenshots that are supposed to be from 2010. I need to prove that they are fake. Forensic analysis? Yeah, I can do that. Send them over. I forwarded him the screenshots Ashley had sent Hazel, the same ones she'd shown my parents 13 years ago. Liam called me back 3 days later. Dude, these are fake as heck. Whoever made them was sloppy. Show me. He walked me through it over video call, pulling up the images on his screen. First off, the timestamp formats are wrong. In 2010, iPhones displayed times differently. They used a lighter gray color and a different font weight. These show the darker, bolder style that didn't come until iOS 9 in 2015. Small detail, but it's there. He zoomed in on another section. See this? The battery icon. This design wasn't introduced until 2014. In 2010, it was more rectangular, less rounded. Again, tiny mistake, but it proves these weren't real screenshots from that time period. What else? Now here's the big one. The phone number. You said this was supposed to be your number back then? Yeah. The area code format is wrong. Arizona numbers in this interface should show differently based on contact storage. This looks like it was typed manually into a generator, rather than pulled from an actual contact list. The formatting gives it away. Liam scrolled through more details. I also checked the resolution and compression. These images have been saved and resaved multiple times. The JPEG artifacting shows generational loss, meaning they've been edited, exported, and manipulated. A true screenshot taken on an iPhone in 2010 and kept in photos wouldn't have this degradation pattern unless it went through multiple editing apps. Can you put all this in a report? Already working on it. Give me another day and I'll have a full forensic breakdown with annotations. This stuff would hold up if you ever needed it legally. Perfect, thanks, man. No problem. Whoever tried to frame you was an amateur. Left fingerprints all over this. I had everything I needed to bury her. But here's the thing about revenge. It's not enough to have evidence. You need them to hang themselves with their own rope. I was going to burn her life to the ground systematically, thoroughly, completely. But first, I needed her confession. On record. In her own words. I didn't want anyone to question the truth. I did some research on recording laws. Texas is a one-party consent state, meaning as long as one person in the conversation knows it's being recorded, me, it's completely legal. Admissible in court. Usable as evidence? Perfect. I went to Best Buy and bought a small digital voice recorder, the kind that looks like a pen high-quality audio, 8-hour battery life. I tested it a dozen times to make sure it picked up everything clearly. Then I spent another week planning the approach. I needed Ashley to be comfortable. I needed her thinking she'd won. I needed her to confess naturally, not because I was interrogating her, but because she felt safe enough to brag about it. I was going to get her to confess everything, and then I was going to use that confession to destroy her. But first, I needed to make one phone call. I called Ashley from a burner phone. Didn't want her having my real number. It's Walter. We need to talk. Oh, thank God. Does this mean you're going to meet me tomorrow, Dos Hermanos, the one on McDowell? Noon. Come alone. Why? Because you want your money, don't you? I could practically hear her smile through the phone. I'll be there. I showed up 30 minutes early. Picked a booth in the back corner where the ambient noise was low enough that my recorder would pick up everything clearly, but loud enough that other diners wouldn't overhear our conversation. Set the pen recorder on the table, like I was just keeping it handy for notes. Hit record. Ashley walked in at 12:05. She'd aged rough. The golden child from 13 years ago looked tired and worn down. She slid into the booth across from me, eyeing me warily. So you came around. I'm considering it, I said. But I need to understand something first. Why now? Why after 13 years? She shrugged. I told you. I'm broke. 2 kids, lousy jobs, no help. You're doing well. Seemed like a logical solution. How'd you even think of this? The blackmail, I mean. A small smile crossed her face. I've always known where those screenshots were. I've thought about using them before, but never had the guts. Then I saw your business was doing well, and I figured, why not? You owe me anyway. I owe you. Sure. I had to live with the guilt of what happened for 13 years. That's got to be worth something. The recorder was capturing every word. I kept my face neutral. How'd you even make the screenshots back then? She leaned back, getting comfortable. This was the thing about Ashley. Get her talking about herself and she couldn't shut up. There was this app. You could fake text conversations. Make it look like anyone said anything. I spent like 2 hours that night making them look realistic. It was actually kind of fun in a messed up way. Must have been stressful, though. 15 years old, making up all that stuff. I was freaking out, she admitted. I got caught with Noah, and I knew my parents were going to kill me. Ground me forever. Probably pull me from volleyball. I needed something big to distract them. Something that would make them forget about what I did. She paused. You understand now, right? She continued, Don't take it personally. It could have been anyone. You just happened to be there. I wanted to reach across the table and strangle her, but I kept my voice calm. And you never felt bad about it? About what it did to me? She looked away. I mean, yeah, sometimes. But you landed on your feet, right? You're doing fine. Better than fine. So it all worked out. I was homeless at 17. But you're not homeless now. You got over it. I lost my family, my friends, my entire life. She rolled her eyes. Okay, so it sucked for a while. But you're successful now? You should actually thank me. All that struggle probably made you stronger or whatever. She leaned forward. Look, I don't have time for a guilt trip. Are you giving me the money or not? 50,000. That's what you said. That's the number. And if I don't, then Hazel gets more screenshots. Your business partners get a nice email. Maybe I file a police report. Say I'm finally ready to come forward about what you did to me 13 years ago. Really lean into the whole, I was too scared to report it then, but now I'm brave enough angle that plays well these days. You'd lie to the cops? I already lied to everyone else. What's one more? She smirked. Besides, nobody would believe you over me, poor single mom with 2 kids against some guy with a suspicious past and no family ties. Please. I'd be on the news as a survivor. You'd be on the sex offender registry. Every word, every confession, every threat. The recorder was getting all of it. What about your kids? I asked. You're really going to teach them that blackmail is okay? My kids are the reason I'm doing this. I'm about to get evicted again. You think I give a crap about morals right now? I'll do whatever it takes. So that's it. You ruined my life at 15. Now you're trying to ruin it again at 30. And you don't feel bad at all. She shrugged. I feel bad that I have to do this. But I don't feel bad about doing it. There's a difference. I sat back and crossed my arms. What if I could prove you lied? About all of it? Her smile faltered. You can't. What if I had forensic analysis? Proof that those screenshots were faked? Evidence showing all the little mistakes you made? That was 13 years ago. Nobody would care now. Courts would care, especially when I show them how you're currently committing blackmail. That's a felony. Ashley 3 to 5 years if I press charges. You wouldn't. Try me. I leaned forward. Here's how this is going to work. You're going to post a full confession on social media, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. You're going to explain exactly what you did 13 years ago. How you faked the screenshots. How you lied to everyone. How you destroyed my life to save your own butt. And you're going to apologize. Publicly. No freaking way. Option 2. I take all this evidence plus the confession you just gave me. Yeah, I've been recording this whole conversation, one-party consent state, totally legal, and I file a lawsuit defamation, emotional distress, lost wages. I'll sue you for everything you're worth, which admittedly isn't much, but I'll make sure you spend the next decade in court. I'll file criminal charges for the blackmail. I'll send all of this to CPS and let them know what kind of person is raising those kids. I'll burn your life down so thoroughly you'll wish you'd never heard my freaking name. The color drained from her face. Walter, those are your options. Post the confession, take your lumps from your friends and family, and we're done. Or fight me on this and spend the next 13 years in legal trouble while I make it my personal mission to ruin you. My kids should have thought about your kids before you decided to blackmail me. She was shaking now. Real fear. Not the fake tears from 13 years ago. What's it going to be? She stared at me. At the reality that I had her completely cornered. The confession, she finally whispered. Fine, I'll post it. Today, right now. You're going to write it on your phone and post it before you leave this restaurant, and it better be detailed. It better explain everything, and if you try to delete it later, I've got screenshots, and I'll make sure everyone sees them. She pulled out her phone with trembling hands. Ashley sat there for 20 minutes typing on her phone. I watched every word. Made her rewrite parts that weren't clear enough. Made her add details she tried to skip over. Made her take full responsibility without any nonsense excuses about being young or scared. When she was finally done, she showed me the draft. Post it, I said. Walter, please. My friends are going to see this. My family. I said post it. She hit the button. The status went live on Facebook. She switched to Instagram and posted the same thing there. I pulled out my own phone and screenshot everything. The confession, the timestamps, the whole thing. One more thing, I said. You're going to send this to my parents, and your parents, and everyone in the family. You're going to make sure they all see what you just posted. Walter, do it, or I start making calls to lawyers. She created a family group text, dropped the link to her confession, hit send. Within seconds, the replies started coming in shock, anger, disbelief. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Can I go now? She asked, tears running down her face. Real ones this time. One more thing, you ever contact me again. Ever. And I file charges. You ever try to walk this back? Claim you were coerced? Say anything other than the truth? I've got this recording, I've got all the evidence. And I will mess up your life so badly, you'll need therapy just to remember what normal feels like. We clear? We're clear. Get out. She grabbed her purse and practically ran out of the restaurant. I sat there for a few minutes, watching the comments roll in on her post, her friends, her family. Everyone who'd believed her 13 years ago now seeing the truth. My uncle commented, "How could you do this?" My aunt, "I can't believe you lied about something like this." My mom, "Where is Walter? Does anyone have his number?" Her own friends were turning on her in real time. Comments about what a terrible person she was. How they'd trusted her. How they couldn't believe she'd destroy someone's life like that. It was beautiful. I paid the bill, pocketed the recorder, and walked out of that restaurant feeling lighter than I had in 13 years. The confession spread like wildfire. Within 24 hours, everyone in our extended family had seen it. Everyone from our hometown. Everyone in Ashley's social circle screenshots were being shared. The story was being dissected. People were taking sides. Most people were on my side. Finally, her employer saw it. Apparently, med spas don't love keeping receptionists who are known for filing false accusations. She got fired a week after the post went live. Her landlord saw it. She'd been late on rent for 3 months anyway, and the confession was the final straw. Eviction notice served within the week her friends turned on her. The comments on her confession post turned brutal. People she'd known for years suddenly saw her for what she was. A manipulative liar who destroyed an innocent person's life to save herself and felt no remorse until she got caught. Even her parents, my aunt and uncle, posted their own statement. A public apology to me for not believing me 13 years ago. An admission that they'd failed me as family. A promise to make things right. Too little, too late, but at least it was something. My parents tried calling me. I didn't answer. They left voicemails. My mom crying, apologizing, begging me to call back. My dad, for once in his life, admitting he'd been wrong, saying he should have fought for me, should have believed me, should have been a better father. The voicemails were nice to hear, I guess. Validation after over a decade of silence. But they didn't change anything. They'd thrown me away when I needed them most, said sorry only when the evidence was too overwhelming to ignore. That's not love, that's covering their butts. I deleted the voicemails. Hazel showed up at my house 4 days after the confession went viral. I was in the garage working on inventory when she knocked. "Walter?" I didn't turn around. "Thought you needed space." I saw Ashley's confession. The whole story. Everything she admitted to. "I'm sorry. I should have listened to you. I should have believed you. This is in the past now. Can we talk about this?" I finally turned around. "What's there to talk about? You were pretty clear where you stand. I made a mistake. I want to fix this. I want us to fix this. You threw away 2 years because some stranger sent you screenshots. You believed her over me without question. You said I was capable of assaulting a 15-year-old. Why the heck would I want to fix that? Because you love me. Not anymore. Past tense. I went back to the laptop I was working on. You don't get to come back just because you realized you messed up. Actions have consequences. Walter, we're done, Hazel." I heard her crying, but I didn't look up. After a few minutes, I heard the ring hit the workbench. Then footsteps. Then the door closing. The best part of all this? Ashley's kids. CPS got an anonymous tip, definitely not from me, about a mother who'd admitted to filing false reports and attempting blackmail. They did a home visit, found out she was being evicted, found out she was behind on bills, found out she'd lost her job and had no income. The kids went to stay with her parents temporarily while Ashley got her stuff together, which, let's be honest, was probably never going to happen. My uncle sent me an email a week after everything went down. Long, rambling, trying to explain how sorry he was, how they'd been protecting their daughter, how they'd had no way of knowing she was lying, how they hoped I could find it in my heart to forgive them. He mentioned they were helping Ashley with the kids. that she was in a bad place, that maybe if I had it in me to help financially, it would go a long way toward healing the family. I laughed so hard I almost fell out of my chair. These people, these freaking people, threw me out at 17, believed lies without evidence, let me suffer for over a decade. And now they wanted me to help Ashley because she was struggling? Nah, hard pass. 6 months later, life had settled into a new normal. The electronics business was still doing well. I'd hired 2 more employees and expanded into commercial contracts. Money was steady. Reputation was solid. Ashley, from what I heard through the grapevine, was completely screwed. Lost her job, lost her apartment, living with her parents at 29 years old. Her kids were still with her parents because she couldn't afford her own place. Her friends had abandoned her. Her reputation was destroyed. The confession was still up on her social media. She'd tried to delete it once, but I'd screenshot everything and sent it to everyone who'd commented, made sure the internet never forgot what she'd done. Every time a potential employer Googled her name, that confession came up. Every time someone from the past looked her up, that confession came up. She'd successfully made sure the consequences of her actions would follow her forever. Good. As for me, I'd finally found peace with it all. For 13 years, I'd been carrying this weight, this anger, this need to prove I was innocent. And now I didn't have to prove anything. The truth was out there. The people who mattered knew what really happened. I didn't need anyone. I had my business, I had my life, and I'd built it all myself. Started a new hobby around this time, restoring classic cars. Bought a 1969 Chevelle SS for 12 grand from an estate sale. The family didn't know what they had. Thing was a rust bucket, but the frame was solid and the numbers matched. Spent my evenings in the garage rebuilding that car from the ground up, therapeutic as heck. Taking something broken and making it better than it was before. Felt appropriate given everything. When I finished the Chevelle 6 months later, I listed it on Bring a Trailer just to see what would happen. Sold for $68,000. That's when I realized I'd found my next venture. Started hitting estate sales, auctions, Craigslist ads, looking for project cars, buying them cheap, restoring them, flipping them for serious profit. The electronics business kept paying the bills. But the cars? The cars were paying for my future. Within a year, I'd restored and sold 12 vehicles. Average profit per car was about 35 grand. The money was stupid good. The work was satisfying. And nobody gave a crap about my past, because all that mattered was whether I could turn their rust bucket into a show car I was pulling in about 200 grand a year from restorations alone. Plus the electronics business, plus smart investments I'd made with all that extra cash. At 31 years old, I was worth about $1.1 million. Not retirement money, but comfortable as heck. And I'd done it all without them, without my family, without Hazel, without anyone who doubted me. Just me, my tools, and my refusal to let other people's lies define my life. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.